What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to 1TS Daily here at One True Sports. A new era of 1TS Daily. 27 episodes in. Man, we are turning the page. We're growing, we're expanding, and welcoming Ryan Droste to the co-host chair for the foreseeable future for good. Ryan, man, dude, it is awesome to have you here, man. Gosh, I always love working with you when we've had the chance to. Now here's an official endeavor for us, and pumped to go on this journey with you here, man. What's going on?
Yeah, really excited to be here. I had a ton of fun guest hosting for you a couple of weeks ago, Zach. So I was thrilled when they asked me to come back and also, to collaborate with you. We worked together on multiple projects over the years, and we've talked about doing different things here and there. So it's cool to finally, firm up this show that we're going to be doing together here for One True Sport. And I'm looking forward to it. There's always a great cast of characters in the chat room that keeps these shows lively. You're fantastic as a host. And so I think both of us, it's like that, that old clip of the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan doing the slow shake together. That's what I'm picturing in my head right now as we begin this new chapter.
Absolutely. Oh man, boy, if I could go back in time like 20 minutes, I would find that GIF or something like that. And
I thought about it. I failed. I thought about it because I knew I was going to say that. I should have put it here in our gathering of media clips that we could use.
Oh man, it's such a good clip. Such a good clip. It's so true though. So true. It's going to be a blast. We've got some big things planned, folks, for this show and the future of this show. As you know, we're here every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 11 Eastern, 30 minutes to talk the news of the day, the news of the week, all the happenings in professional wrestling. We got it locked down for you here at 1TS Daily. The chat room is filling up. Eddie, what's going on? Liam is in there. What's up, Liam? Thanks so much for joining. If you're listening to us on YouTube or watching on YouTube, appreciate you. If you're watching on Twitter somewhere, thank you to that as well. Make sure you're heading to onetruesport.com and checking out the membership tiers that we have available. Lots of different legend shows, all sorts of content from a wide variety of different hosts with different perspectives and different show types. So you're definitely going to want to head over there, pick out your tier. We've got a couple different options so that it can fit your budget, but also get you exactly what you need. It's onetruesport.com. You can follow more of my work at Brass Ring Media, and you can follow more of Ryan's work at Top Rope Nation. We'll get into more of that near the end of the show here, but you can, while you're on YouTube, just, open a new window.
Something just fell over on my set. I apologize.
The ecosystem and lock in subscribe to all of our channels, both Brass Ring Media and Top Rope Nation. If you like this show, you're gonna like what we've got going on at those two places. More on that in a minute. The live chat's open here, so we want to hear from you guys and let us know what you think on all the news that we talk about. If there's topics you want us to get to, questions that you have, definitely drop them in there. We'll make sure to get to as many as we can before the show is over. Super chats are open as well, and those are much appreciated. Any contribution helps. We'll make sure to read any and all super chats that we get. Thank you in advance for that. Helps out us, helps out the show, helps out One True Sport. So thank you in advance for your help on that front. With that said, Ryan, let's get into the meat of the show today. As Eddie said here at 10:02, right out of the gate, mommy is back. Yeah, she sure is. Rhea Ripley making her return to WWE on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. The main event of that show had Dominic Mysterio teaming with Liv Morgan to take on Zelina Vega and Rey Mysterio. The hook throughout the whole show was, Liv promising Dom that she'd help him get a win over his dad because he has not had that before. And lo and behold, that's what happened here. Dominic pins Rey, gets the W, and then the two have a moment. They have a moment in the ring. Dominic seems to fall for her, and as they gaze into each other's eyes, Rhea Ripley's music hits. She walks to the ring, and all hell breaks loose. So Ryan, what did you think of her return? How do you think it played off on TV? And what do you think it means for the storyline with her and Liv and her and Dom and Judgment Day in general moving forward? Thumbs up or thumbs down on this?
Oh man, huge thumbs up. I got to give a thumbs down to the USA Network. Was that just a United States thing where they cut away early, or was that, I don't know. I saw the clip out there on social media. You know how in some areas they filmed her all the way up the entranceway, but here, at least on my YouTube TV, they cut away like right as they were staring at each other in the ring. So thumbs down to USA Network.
Same thing for me, and I was watching on YouTube TV too. So I wonder if it is like a YouTube TV thing. But yeah. It's shame on you, USA Network or YouTube TV. Shame on you.
But I mean, yeah, at least we got, we did see her come back, and I like everybody saw the rumors out there all day, so I was happy to see her. You got the hints from Damian Priest throughout the show. I thought as a show long kind of quiet story, they did a really good job in paying it off. I think, they've built the story up really well, long term in the absence of Rhea and kept her, in everyone's mind. And they did it in a way where they could just insert her back into the program at any time. There was no time frame on this. Whenever she was ready to go, they could put her back in there. And that's what they did just in advance of SummerSlam, which is perfect timing for them. I'm sure they're thrilled that she appears ready to come back by then. And I mean, you heard the crowd reaction. I mean, that was probably the biggest pop on the show. I mean, she is, I know you had a tweet about this last night. I mean, she is like a top 2 to 3 star in the company, at least on Raw, I should say, when she comes back here, like immediately. She's top 3 factor on that show, I would say.
Oh, definitely. Especially like by that reactions. Like, and it's such a bummer, like when you get injured like that, like post WrestleMania, you have a big win over Becky Lynch, and then you get hurt. But man, this time away may have been the best thing for her, like in terms of like just fans pining for her to come back. She's got a ready-made storyline to come back into. And clearly, a babyface now. That pop was huge. Going into it, as they were like putting the breadcrumbs out there that like, okay, Rhea's going to be coming. I was like steadfast in a belief that, and I ended up being wrong about this. So spoiler, I was steadfast in like, there's got to be something physical that she does. Like she can't come in and like kind of hedge on, do I still like Dom or do I not? I'm not sure. Like, and so I thought like, you don't want her to be like a gullible kind of babyface that's fallen for Dominic Mysterio, of all people. So that's why I was like, we got to see. It's like music hits, Riptide, both of them, and then that's it. And pleasantly, I was surprised. I was wrong about that. I thought I thought this worked actually better in terms of showing her like not really putting up with Dom's BS, but holding onto that moment where she drops him with something for a future date or whatever on pay-per-view or something like that. So I don't know how you felt about like that specifically, but I went back and forth, and I'm glad they went the way they did and kind of held onto that ace up their sleeve of like, well, we don't have to have her beat up Dom yet, because we're gonna want people to tune in and pay for that.
Yeah, no, it's like they saved the second massive pop. You got the pop for her returning, and you're saving that second massive moment for down the line. I think it was great that, she didn't touch Liv. She didn't touch Dominic. I thought Liv, by the way, too, they pushed that out on social media, how she was peeking out the curtain. She did tremendous just with her facial reaction, kind of that look of he's fallen right into the web that she laid, for all of these weeks and everything. So Liv Morgan did a great job as well on this.
She did. And I think Liv Morgan, like, I don't know, this may be her ceiling, in WWE, like this spot. But man, I mean, it's not a bad place to be. You're in main events, you are feuding with one of the top stars, you're the champion, and you're holding your own. She's not just along for the ride in this. Like, she's been a key cog in like what's made this whole thing go. So, I mean, if you're her, you're loving life right now. I mean, you're loving life right now as the champion. What do you make of, how do you think this impacts the Judgment Day storyline? Because another hook throughout this was that Damian Priest knows something's up. He's got this surprise for Dom, but he's not cluing. He did, actively didn't include any of the other Judgment Day members in this. Is this like another chapter in their inevitable demise, or what do you make of that element?
I think so, because it sure seems like they're trying to turn Damian face, which because they got this awkward heel match technically with him and Gunther at SummerSlam. So it feels to me like Damian's gonna split off and turn face, and Rhea, who is already getting cheered because she's awesome, will officially be on that side, and maybe they get to a new Judgment Day where you get Liv in the Judgment Day with Dominic and the other guys. I mean, I could see it going that route, perhaps, but there definitely has to be some kind of split, I would think, and that would be a way that you could keep Liv relevant, maybe long term, because like you said, this might be her ceiling. When she won the title and then they went into the story, I was kind of questioning what they were going to do with her, because I felt like she had already peaked as a character on WWE. There was always kind of that subset of the audience that really, really liked her, but was that going to be enough? And this has really freshened up her character and made her way more dynamic on television. So I think if they keep this rolling, after her and Rhea wrestle, if you slot, I don't know, maybe, what do you think? Slot her into the Judgment Day if Rhea splits off?
I think that works. I mean, I think that works. I mean, because she's had like the little moments with like Finn Balor and like, even like whatever, playing video games with like JD and Carlito, who also had a funny line yesterday during one of their backstage segments. But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Or I mean, maybe it is just kind of like a different group altogether, but it's just like another faction that Dom and her can be a part of. But I mean, they've just shown to have some chemistry together. So I would do what I can to keep them together for a while. The thing is, it seems like based on that little clip that they dropped of Liv Morgan, and in case you guys missed it, it's on WWE socials right now. And I think I retweeted it, so you can find it on my feed. But she kind of like looked through the curtain, watched it all go down between Rhea and Dom, and then like turned to the camera and kind of like smiled and snickered and walked away. So it could be that she's not interested in Dom at all, and only doing this just to get under Rhea's skin. And so we may find ourselves in a situation where she's strictly using Dom, and just there isn't a future there with Judgment Day because of that fact. So that could be part of this too.
Yeah, I can see that.
What about so I have a broader question here, and the reason this isn't necessarily news, so we're kind of breaking away from our traditional format here, but I think it's just important to talk about what's going on across WWE television right now. I mean, and SmackDown, you've got this nuanced bloodline story. On Raw, you've got a lot of different webs with Damian Priest and Liv Morgan. There's intertwining storylines with Drew McIntyre, who we'll get to in a second, and CM Punk, and then Seth Rollins. How do you grade WWE right now in terms of their attempt to kind of intertwine these different angles and these different stories with these different characters? And is this a feasible strategy for them from a producing content perspective as they go into Netflix and USA and on the CW next year?
Just with the numerous long form stories you're telling. I mean, I think it's very well done. I'm not going to lie to you. A year ago, 2 years ago, you would not find me watching Raw live almost ever. I would be, browsing social media. I'd be watching the highlights on YouTube. It was just such a slog to get through. And, I think the wrestling last night was fairly minimal, to be honest with you. Not a lot of great matches or anything, but storytelling wise, they're doing a great job. And, my kids love watching it. They're drawing them in as just young fans. I see it happening. I can see why the company's super hot right now. The shows are just really well written and really engaging. For me as a wrestling fan, I tend to like the in-ring style of AEW better. Just that's my own personal preference. But you know, if you're just looking to sit down and be entertained for 2 to 3 hours, it is really hard to top WWE. To me, it's mostly in the storytelling. So can they balance that long term across Netflix, across, you know, with SmackDown and everything? Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't see any issues with that. I think it plays right into Netflix, who, you know, built their brand lately, at least on streaming with episodic television. They want you to binge watch everything. And WWE is doing a lot more of these cliffhanger endings lately. That was something that we used to see a lot, like every week back in the Monday Night Wars, just to get you to tune in the next week. And they're kind of getting back to that. We saw it last night. And that's the kind of thing Netflix for sure wants, because they want, you know, if people go back and they're catching up, they want them to keep streaming. They want them to keep move on to the next episode, move on to the next episode. And you wouldn't do that with Raw a year ago, 2 years ago. But you do it now because they're giving you all these breadcrumbs, these cliffhanger endings. And I mean, I think it's exactly what they're going to want from them.
Yeah. I think it's fun to watch them attempt this. And I think like right now they're kind of landing the plane in different areas. At some point, you know, they won't. You know, they're not going to bat 1,000 on this type of storytelling like forever. So, you know, we'll have to, you know, watch it. But I give it an A for effort, you know, in terms of like just trying to present the product in like a different way. And again, they're not going to hit on everything. They don't hit on everything. You know, look at the Damian Priest, Seth Rollins match from Money in the Bank, where it's like, okay, that was way too messy and too many balls in the air, and you only caught like 2 of them. Like, just didn't work. But then you'll have moments like last night where it's like, all right, that worked, and that worked really well.
I do have some issues with the Bloodline recently, which we'll probably get to on the show on Friday when we preview SmackDown. But I think that which was such a great storyline for so long has some issues right now. So we'll save that for later in the week.
That's a tease, folks.
Yes,
that is a tease. Friday, 11 Eastern. Don't miss it.
Yes.
No, I'm excited to talk about that. Yeah, because I've been pretty high on it, so I'm interested to hear your take. It'll be fun. Let's go to the chat real quick and drop some. Let's see here what some folks are saying. Eddie giving an A+ to the WWE kind of booking model and storytelling model right now. Hard not to, Eddie. Hard not to. He also asks, which one of you is the paranoid macho man?
Okay, I was going to point this out because when Zack was doing the intro spiel and then I interrupted him very unprofessionally, there was something on my set back here that fell over, and you can see it laying there right now. There's a book, but in front of that, I had some figurines, including a Macho Man, I believe. And so right when Eddie said that, it fell. Eddie, you willed that into existence. Eddie. I don't know if you put a curse on me or what, but I guess I'm the paranoid Macho Man because literally my set fell over when you said that. It was almost right when that chat popped up. It was very strange.
Wow. Eddie, you got some supernatural powers. This is like some Wyatt Six stuff right there, man.
I don't know what's going on.
And Eddie also saying here, I love the Bloodline story. Yeah, we're gonna get into all of it. We'll get into that later in the week with SmackDown and heading into the weekend talk. Before we move away from Raw and hit some other kind of news topics that popped up, one of which popped up just this morning. What do you think of the follow-up to Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, CM Punk? We had a big kind of CM Punk Rollins promo to start the show. Drew wasn't there. Punk begging Adam Pearce to kind of reinstate Drew McIntyre. This has been all over the place in my opinion, like the story. Like, who do you cheer for? Punk's kind of doing this heel thing and he's interrupting all these title matches, and you kind of feel bad for Drew, but Drew's kind of a jerk. And like the audience is cheering Punk. So they haven't really defined like specifically how you're supposed to feel about these guys, although it seems like people are just navigating over towards the Punk side. I thought Rollins and Punk had a fun interaction yesterday. I noted this during the show, but there's tension between those guys. Whether it's real or not, I don't know. But when they're in the ring together and they're talking back and forth, like, you can cut the tension with a knife. And I think that makes for compelling TV. So what do you think of their interaction? And like, was it good follow-up to what happened at Money in the Bank?
Yeah, I think this whole story is really, really interesting just from that babyface heel dynamic that you're talking about, because like last night, you see Punk come out and he gets the huge response from the crowd, as always. But then you have him facing off with Seth Rollins, who the crowd loves too. And then I felt like the crowd kind of shifted a little bit more to the Rollins side. McIntyre is a guy who I've been really steadfast now for 2 years on Top Rope Nation that he's the best thing on WWE TV. I mean, to Eddie's point, I've loved most of the Bloodline story too. But to me, McIntyre, to Tease Friday show, I'm going to get into some things I'm going to nitpick. I think overall it's still well told. Don't get me wrong. But Bloodline's been very interesting. But McIntyre, this guy has, to me, carried these shows for a long time. He has been the most compelling character. And so when you slot him in there with a guy like CM Punk, and CM Punk is like legit screwing the guy over, like he's paid him back more than once now. And now you're getting to this level where it's like Punk's kind of being a heel with what he's doing. And I look forward to the day when CM Punk is a heel again. That's going to be, I mean, just a straight up heel, bashing the audience. It's going to be so good. But for right now, they're still riding the positivity of him being back in the company. Drew McIntyre has a legit gripe. Seth Rollins doesn't like the guy, and you can tell, like you said, and in the face-offs they've done, I'm sure they've smoothed things over backstage, no question about it right now. But it does feel almost like back in the day with the Brett Shawn stuff, where you knew like backstage those guys didn't like each other, and you have that sense of realness when they're out there, and that's when pro wrestling is at its best. And I get that vibe when you have Seth and Punk. And I felt like last night, it felt like Rollins outshined Punk on the mic, which I was not expecting because Punk is so strong on the mic, but it almost felt like Punk didn't know what to say there at the end. Rollins was really, really strong. Yeah. And you look at this situation where you've got the McIntyre Punk match, you've got a Rollins Punk match to do, you've got all this stuff with the bloodline, you've got, Rhea Ripley coming back. There are Gunther, obviously, there are so many matches people are looking forward to in this promotion that I cannot imagine them losing steam anytime soon. Then you got John Cena coming back for his farewell tour. There's just so much on the horizon. I feel like doing podcasts a couple of years ago, and we would like fantasy book, where are they going? I have no idea. I can't even like think of where they're going right now. Where aren't they going? There's so much on the horizon that you can see happening. And it's going to be very good, which that's wrestling at its best. When you can forecast all the dream matches coming up, then they're doing something right. And so here they're in this feud with three guys. They got two ultimate, dream match scenarios almost that people have been looking forward to for months now because Punk got injured. And I can't wait. I thought the Raw stuff was really good, terrific last night. And like I said, I thought Rollins came out even better than I thought he was going to. I thought he was the real winner in that segment last night.
Yeah, he was. The line about "I'm higher than you," and not just the heels. Yeah, great line. And Punk was like, "Oh man, dude, I don't have a good comeback for that." Yeah, but I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think they've there's like nuanced characters here. Generally, like I'm pretty much like babyface versus heel pro wrestling guy. Like I think I like that best. I think it works best when you have that defined. But just like anything else, there's shades of gray in that. And if you can pull it off, it certainly is compelling. And I think with a guy like CM Punk in particular, because he is so polarizing naturally, he's a guy that works if you're going to try to play, with that babyface heel dynamic. And it really is working well here with Drew. The best thing about it is it feels like these two guys hate each other. And that is key. And when they collide, whenever that's going to be, it's going to be, a fight. And I think that's compelling. Let's go to some fun. Man, we got a lot happening in the chat here. Thank you guys. Punk makes Cena look small now, Matt says. Punk is kind of ripped right now. I don't know that I would classify Cena as small, Matt, but Punk is pretty jacked. That's for sure. Also here, Liam jumping in with the chat saying, I'm loving the Drew Punk feud, but I think Seth Punk is gonna be insane. Fingers crossed that neither of them gets re-injured. Yeah, Ryan, is that a WrestleMania match? Like, is that something you hold until Vegas?
I think that's a good idea. I think the slow build to that. They got so much in front of them with just Drew and Punk. probably leading into Bad Blood after SummerSlam and everything, that they can get a few months out of that. And I think Rumble or Mania is probably the way. Slow burn that for sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you as well. So yeah, we'll see. We'll check it. We'll see what happens. They announced Drew McIntyre, folks, for next week, so he is going to come back and talk with Adam Pearce, and presumably get reinstated. But we'll have to see what happens. But that's on Raw. That's on Raw next week.
I want to hit this one chat from Matt here real quick. So
Do it.
I kind of agree with this. So let me just say, I'm an Iowan, and having Seth Rollins out there as the biggest pro wrestling star from Iowa since Frank Gotch has always been a sense of pride. But I don't like the over-the-top Seth Rollins stuff either. I think he can keep the outfits. That's fine. But I hate like the cackle and all of that he's done for so many years now. That just makes me almost want to turn the channel. I totally agree with Matt that the more serious Rollins, though, he can still wear the outfits, but being more serious like he was in the ring last night, that's the best Rollins. I 100% agree with him there.
Couldn't agree more. I think that's his sweet spot. And yeah, it's not even really, like you said, I'm glad you mentioned it. It's not like about the outfits. That I think that's become a thing now, right? Like that's part of his gimmick. But I think he can like do the outfits and stay serious on the side, like with what he says and how he talks. And like, so he was great in balancing that last night. And I that is the sweet spot. I would 100% agree with you on that for sure. Because imagine like if he's out there, doing the cackle thing and trying to be like that guy with CM Punk. It just wouldn't work.
Don't like it. Yeah.
I just don't know that that's like his natural personality either. Like it's not, to me, that's not an extension of his personality. That's like a total put on. And I don't think that ever really works there's spots where it has, yes, but generally I think people can see through that. And Seth's been around for so long, seeing him doing this like Joker clown gimmick. It's like, all right, we know that's not who you are, man. We know you're a backwards hat guy who's going to wear all black, at the grocery store.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
I think you're spot on there. Let's get to a super chat from David. David, appreciate you. It says Zach Ryan, coffee's on me today, boys. Keep being awesome. Well, you keep being awesome, David. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate you. That means a lot, and I need coffee. So I will put that to good use. Thank you for the.
We're both girl dads over here. They run us ragged. We need that coffee.
Hey, that's right. You're taking people to basketball camps, and I had to. The girls were playing library this morning, so I've got books literally all over the house. I'm like stepping outside the office here, and like there's books everywhere, and like deep down, I'm happy because look, there's worse things to play than library, and so
it's a good choice.
But I'm like, God damn it, now I got to pick up books for 15 minutes. But so thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from Raw and let's hit a couple final topics here before we ride off in the sunset. And NXT tonight on the USA Network. Follow up to the critically acclaimed Heatwave show from over the weekend. I don't know if did you catch that event, Ryan?
I haven't had time yet. I'm probably going to try to watch it this afternoon. It's on the list. My God, there was so much wrestling to watch over the weekend, wasn't there?
Oh, dude, yeah, so much. But I would say though that I think it's worth a watch. Like it was like a legit good wrestling show. Like going in, I was of the opinion of like, all right, take it or leave it. Like it's kind of like they're reaching for a pay-per-view right now. Like they don't really have one, and so like they're just kind of reaching and they're gonna do the best they can. But the matches themselves were really good. So curious as to what you think about that if you get a chance to watch it. But the follow-up tonight is Tony D'Angelo versus Lexis King for the NXT Heritage Cup. Sol Ruca versus Fallon Henley. You got Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows versus OTM. Gallus is going to wrestle Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Egu. And then Wes Lee will address his future after losing to Obafemi at the pay-per-view on Sunday. Ariana Grace will face Carmen Petrovic. And then Brooks Jensen is going to have a sit-down with Ava, the NXT general manager. I'm sure we're going to get some type of Ethan Page celebration after he won the NXT championship, but so not a ton there at all from an in-ring perspective. Like, goodness, that is a barren wasteland as far as like potential good matches go. But I will say, you know, coming out of like a pay-per-view that got some buzz, you know, it behooved them to like hit a home run on this show and try their best with you know, with the microscope kind of on the brand after the show on Sunday. Anything stand out to you on this card?
I mean, not too much, just since I haven't watched the show yet. But I mean, to get back to Heatwave, I mean, all I heard all weekend was that was the best wrestling show all weekend. So that's why it's definitely on my list. I've seen the results, obviously, but I got to get this thing watched today so that I can watch NXT tonight and understand what's going on. But yeah, they certainly have more buzz, I think, than the brand has had in quite some time, because I mean, my whole social timeline was talking about it. You know, I made a point to watch Collision, to watch all the WWE, to make sure to get Raw in last night, and just haven't had a chance to get to NXT yet. But everything I've seen, you know, I love the main event of Collision, but I got to see this NXT show start to finish, because that's what everyone's saying. Best show of the weekend.
I think you're gonna like it. All right. We'll talk about more about NXT tomorrow. We'll talk about the fallout of the show and kind of recap pieces of it during tomorrow's 1TS Daily live right here, 11 Eastern. So be here for that. We'll hit a couple super chats and then one nugget topic, and then we'll wrap up for today, guys. Matt jumping in here with a couple. Love the show, boys, and also it feels like NXT can be a legit traveling third brand. I know HBK said it isn't in the cards right now, but they've rebuilt this thing, and I'm in. Yeah, you know, so Matt, it's one of those things where it's like, could it be a legit third brand? Yes. And travel around, sure, it could do it. I'm of the thought, though, that it's like, you got something good going. There's no need to overextend with NXT right now. It's got its TV deal. It's going to be on the CW network in the fall. They do some shows, you know, on the road down in Florida. They're starting to get out into bigger arenas for the PLEs and attaching themselves to like WrestleMania weekend and Royal Rumble weekend and what have you. Like, I think that's the sweet spot. I just don't know that there's a reason right now to like make that any bigger or like put any more pressure on the brand to deliver more. Like, I think you've found the sweet spot. Ride that out for a bit and see, you know, what kind of talent you can kind of curate from this era. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, you know, in theory. I just think that if I'm HBK and they come to me and go, hey, we're going to take this thing on the road every week, I'm like, no, please no. Like, let's just, and maybe that's just, you know, too conservative, Ryan, but that's where I'm at with it. You got a good thing going.
I kind of agree with you. I think it's fine if they do some shows around pay-per-view or PLE weekends, but probably not full time, because you're right, you don't want to saturate the market too much. I would like to see them do more live events in Florida, though, like they used to do, because that is something that they have really scaled back. And I think just doing some more house shows in Florida would be good, just giving the NXT talent even more chances to work. You know, giving them more reps in the ring, I think would be a positive, because they used to do that a lot. I mean, they had pretty much a consistent touring schedule throughout smaller towns in Florida. I think that that's something they can do. Nationwide, though, might be a stretch right now. But yeah, like I said, certainly around the PLE weekends, I think that that's something that they could continue to do.
Yeah. Get them on the road, like for house shows and stuff. That's totally fine. Yeah, they used to have that little loop that they did down there, and that's just beneficial for like the talent and like just, you know, for fans that want to see like fun house shows. I think that if they were to like adopt like a bigger traveling schedule as far as their TV events go, and I've said this for AEW too for a long time, even before when they were drawing more people, it'd be fun for NXT to like run different kinds of venues, like run like smaller venues for TV. Like here they did a house show like at the Logan, or at like it's like a remade movie theater, and it was really like a cool spot. Like, I think that'd be fresh than just like, all right, we've got the same stage again for NXT as we do for Raw and for SmackDown and for, WWE Speed and all that craziness. Like, I think if you can like find like a new niche for it, maybe it's got some legs, but yeah, until you're ready to do that, I don't know.
That's a great idea. I love when wrestling is in those unique settings. They make the show so, run the Manhattan Center, go up there.
Right.
The Fox Theater, stuff like that. Like you're talking about, you get into the smaller settings where you don't have to sell as many tickets. You can price it a little bit higher, but then it's so unique on television. I'd like to see them do that a little bit here and there.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be it'd be fun. And again, it would just make it stand out too as its own thing. Matt says here with the super chat, I agree. What sucks is so many wrestling fans missing out on the great storylines from NXT. I see DIY and I'm like, these fans have no idea. I mean, NXT's in this weird, like, I think they're in a fun spot, but a weird spot. Like, some storylines are hits, others I'm like, oh goodness, like this is what's going on with Brooks Jensen? That guy's like, what? The storyline is he's like slowly losing his mind, on television. Like, I don't know. So you have hits and misses, but they try a lot of stuff, and I think that's the point.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Ryan, last bit of news here to discuss. Excuse me. Today, it was announced, WWE announced that they've hired a new announcer. ESPN's Joe Tessitore is going to join WWE as a play-by-play voice. This is via press release this morning. The press release says that Tessitore will work alongside Wade Barrett and Corey Graves, and then Michael Cole and Pat McAfee will stay teamed up on Raw. So people are going to get worried about this because there's not been a great Rolodex of mainstream announcers coming into WWE to call the action, especially like as a play-by-play guy. Like, holy cow, man!
Feels like a reach, doesn't it?
Oh, that's putting it nicely.
Adnan Virk, Mike Adamle, like they don't have a good track record to bring in. This is weird because this is like the Vince thing, where he was obsessed with getting the real sports people to replace his announcers, and it never worked. So I was pretty shocked when I saw this. I mean, it's a fairly big name from college football, and wow, we'll see how it goes, I guess.
That's the thing, man. Like look, like if he's a good announcer, like they're like, I don't want to like take that from him, but when you are on a wrestling show, you can tell with Virk and Adam Lee back in the day, even Pat McAfee today, you can tell that, all right, these guys are invested in the product. They know what's going on. You can tell pretty quickly whether that's the answer to that question is a yes or a no. And I just don't know. It has never come to fruition where it's been a situation that, hey, these guys have worked out greatly, except for McAfee, and even that I think has had diminishing returns.
Yeah. Can you still hear me? I see my video is frozen.
You're back.
I'm back.
I was like, damn,
my video frozen.
Chugging that coffee.
I'm just chugging that coffee. These girls are running me ragged. I got 3 daughters out. No, I was just frozen.
I was like, oh my God, Ryan, go, chug.
I just looked down and I was like, what's going on? What is going on here? No,
I'm good. Early returns on this, thumbs down, Ryan, or thumbs up? Like just the idea, concept. I'm like, don't try this. I think it's a mistake.
Yeah, I would go thumbs down. I mean, they're getting a lot of publicity out of it, which they want. But I mean, once you actually get to the in-game action, so to speak, they're working from behind here. We'll see, but I think it's going to be a little rough, at least at the start. It depends how patient fans are.
Yeah. Oh, wrestling fans, patience.
Oh yeah,
definitely so part of the deal. Eddie's not on board with this. Thumbs down, double thumbs down from Eddie's perspective. All right, guys, we did it. Awesome show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks to Matt for the super chats. Thanks to David for the super chats. Thanks to everybody who joined us live. appreciate you guys being here. It's going to be a fun run. Super glad, Ryan, to have you here and part of this thing with me, man. It's gonna be a blast. Talk about Top Rope Nation a little bit, and then we will ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, guys. So, Zack runs a good shop with Brass Ring Media. You can find me at Top Rope Nation. We've been doing the show since 2016. You can find our YouTube channel. We've got the podcast feed. Of course, I do that show with my good friends Justin Joint and Jesse Velasquez every week. Thursday nights is the typical time slot for the Top Rope Nation flagship. So if you enjoyed this show, would love to have you tune in on Thursday nights. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll see you there too.
Very good. Yep. You can check out my stuff at Brass Ring Media, YouTube, and on Substack. We have a Substack newsletter that we put out every day. You can check that out right now. Just search Brass Ring Media on Substack. OneTrueSport.com is the place to go for more One True Sport style content. We've got all sorts of shows with wrestling legends like RVD and others. All sorts of different membership tiers to get you in at a price point that you're comfortable with. It's OneTrueSport.com. We also got some really cool merch up there that you guys can check out. Follow us on Twitter, 1T Sport. That's 1T Sport on Twitter. And then, of course, subscribe here to the channel. That way you don't miss anything. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you know when we go live, and so you don't miss any show. But we will both see you tomorrow, 11 Eastern, right here, 1TS Daily. Thank you so much, and have a really good day. See you.
Thanks, everybody.